Watch this video to the end right now because I'm going to show you exactly how to be free in your life, free to make your own decisions, free to live the life that you want to live. Welcome to the video. My name's Steven. In this video, we're going to talk about freedom. And if you enjoy my content, subscribe to my channel, click the like button. I talk about mindset stuff, business, marketing, whatever I feel like talking about. And today we're talking about freedom. This is the second video of the power, abundance, and freedom little subset. I talked about power yesterday. Today we're going to talk about freedom. So most people believe that they are free because they're not in jail, right? People believe that freedom is derived from circumstance. So because I live the life that I have, I am free. That is not freedom, okay? The other thing that people believe is that they cannot be free until a certain point. So once I get XYZ amount of money in the bank, then I will be free. Then I'll be able to travel wherever I want. I can spend my time however I want. I can spend my time with whoever I want. I'll tell you, that doesn't make a difference, okay? My life from when I was completely broke to where I am today is not that different. The only thing that's different is the mindset. And I have been free through the course of that entire thing. To an extent, there are still things that I have problems with freedom. And freedom, to give you a basic breakdown, is your ability to act without restraints. Let me say it again. Freedom is your ability to act without constraints. Let's say it together. Freedom is your ability to act without constraint or restraint. Freedom is your ability to act without restraint. What does that mean? That means that you are able to go throughout your day without needing something to fulfill a role in your life. I'm cooked. I got coffee. I get coffee every single day, right? But I don't need coffee. I like coffee, and it's a little bit different. When you need something, you are not free. This is the difference between abundance and scarcity, and we'll talk more about abundance later. But the difference between abundance and scarcity is that abundance is like you have things. Scarcity is you need things. Same thing is with freedom. When you need stuff, people can sense that on you. And you are someone who can no longer operate without a certain restraint or a certain drug, I'll say. Usually it's kind of more like on the drug side. When I say drugs, I'm not talking about cocaine. I'm talking about sugar, caffeine, nicotine, carbs. Food can be a drug. There's all sorts of things. It's excess. When you cannot let go of certain bodily desires, you cannot be free. And I'll take this religious for a second. Look at the 7 deadly sins. That's your easiest thing to understand. See, God wants you to be free. God wants you to be free and love Him. When you are doing the 7 deadly sins, when you're acting in the 7 deadly sins, you are not being free. You are saying, I'm restrained. I cannot love God. That's the true purpose, right? So it's like, if you're religious or whatever, like, just hear me out. Whatever you believe in, your goal is to push towards your purpose, towards God, towards finding meaning in your life. The sins are your restraints. Think about it. Gluttony. Gluttony is a perfect example. I'd say everyone suffers with gluttony. Overindulgence. That has been my personal biggest struggle in my entire life is overindulgence. All right. For me, it's either a 1 or a 0. I'm either going to not drink anything or I'm going to drink everything. I'm either going to have no coffee or I'm going to have 6 coffees. That's my problem. I know that. I have a connection to overindulgence, gluttony. You have to look. So my action step for you would be, you have to look at the 7 deadly sins and see which ones are you not free from. And I know there's one that popped into your head. I know it. Lust. Lust is one of the greatest. And actually, the Lord says to run from lust. The rest of them deal with it. Run from lust. That is the worst one. That's the one that gets most men. Because we are biologically hardwired to want to reproduce. And so we become lustful. Well, let me give you a little heads up on something. Now, I'm not a dating coach, and I don't usually talk about this stuff, but we're going to talk about it today. When you are lustful over a woman, you are telling her that you don't have the discipline and the leadership skills to keep her away from temptation, right? Adam and Eve. Eve took the apple. Why? Because women are more susceptible. They're more influential, right? They can be influenced easier. And that's not any hate towards women. That's just biologically how they're hardwired. They're more emotional. Women are more emotional than men. Men are logistical. Women are emotional, so they'll buy into things easier because of how they're feeling right then and there. That's why Eve took the apple. Adam followed along. It's the same thing here. If you are pining over your girlfriend or your wife or the girl you're seeing, whatever it is, she can't see you as a strong, disciplined man because all you want to do is have sex with her. Think about that. Think about that. That's how the red pill is satisfied by Christianity, by the way. I had a hard time trying to figure that out. I had a hard time trying to understand how, sex and relationships, how it satisfies monogamous relationships in Christianity. I'll tell you what it is. When you lead that woman down the lustful route, she now looks at you and says, okay, this guy can't control his lust. Because you are not free of it. You need it, right? When you live freely, you can't be tied down to things. And that makes you dangerous. That makes you powerful. Because if you don't need to have sex with a woman, if you don't need alcohol to make you social, if you don't need caffeine to work, if you don't need to eat carbs, those are the things that make you dangerous. That is what makes you dangerous right there. We've talked about power in the last video, and you can go watch that. It's on my channel now. We talked about power. Power is the ability to have control over your own life and make decisions for you, not for other people. Freedom is your ability to stay away and act without restraints. Stay away from the bad habits. Stay away from temptation. Stay away from sin. Those two things right there are what is going to keep you powerful in this world. All right, that is going to keep you moving forward. You want to make more money? Like people talk about it. They're like looking online for the best way to make more money, bro. It's not money, bro. It's not this one hack. Like you start this one drop shipping store with this one product and then you win. It's your mindset. You have to change your brain, the way that you think. You think you're free just because you live in America. Bro, you're not free. Because you are a slave to the things that take control over you. The urges that you have. It's even deeper than just caffeine. It's deep into your psychology. I meditate a lot. I'll tell you one thing. In meditation, you try to come back to the breath and be present in the moment. Sometimes your brain, or at least for me, my brain, what would happen is as soon as I'd come back to the present moment, my brain would go find the most stimulating thought that it could make and throw it right into my head. Why? Because my ego doesn't like silence. That shows a lot about who I am as a character, and that shows a lot about how the human brain works. So I am not free from this thought that will pop up when I try to silence my brain. So the goal is to become freedom, not to be to become free, not to be tempted by thoughts, right? Thoughts will pass. You can be tempted by them. You'll have a thought, maybe I should start bulking. You know you don't need to bulk. You know you need to lose weight, but you have a thought for some reason. Thoughts usually stem from it's like the Lord, or like the void of just knowledge that just rushes into the world. And then it's also like action points in front of you, or data that's collected, right? Usually data gets collected when something requires attention. So something that usually requires attention is something that is abnormal. It's a little bit abnormal, like it's new, it's urgent, it's new information. For example, my water bottle's been sitting right there the entire time. I haven't been thinking about it. There's a window right here. If somebody walks by with a dog, I will probably look at that dog and that person. Perfect example. Let's use the same thing. Dog walks by. Maybe I should take my dog out for a walk. So then I quit this video, turn this video out right now, and go take my dog for a walk. Because for whatever reason, I cannot be free from my thought that I just had about taking the dog for a walk. And this is something very that's just on a simple basis. It's not the end of the world if I take my dog for a walk right now. But if I have the thought of I don't feel like working the rest of the day, you're not free. You're not free. That's false freedom. You're free to do the things, to do whatever you want, to act without restraints. Well, if your brain is saying, I can't operate under these conditions, then you are not free because you're allowing conditions to prevent you from being powerful and doing the things you need to do. It's crazy. It's crazy how much a thought can dictate your life. It's like thoughts, actions, other people, things. If you're not free from that, if you can't operate outside of your emotions, your emotions is a great one too. You know, if you can't operate outside of your emotions, you are a slave to that emotion. Some people say they're depressed. I don't believe in depression. You know why? Because I'm not a slave to it. I don't believe in it. It's not real. It can't affect me if it's not real. You can say whatever you want. Oh, depression's real for me, and yeah, depression is a symptom of the real problem. The real problem is not that you're sad and depressed and it's a problem with you and you need to take medication. The real problem is you don't clean your room, you jerk off too much, you're lonely, you don't have any friends, you don't make enough money, you're not satisfied with your current job path. You only do and operate out of the things that your parents say and not out of what you actually want to do because you're not free. You're a slave to other people's opinions and certain stimulants. When you take that out of your mind, you can change your life. And I've done that. I've done that for the most part. It's not perfect. There's always things to become more free. Now I'm trying to fix my brain. I'm trying to become free of thoughts in my brain. Okay? Yeah, there's a way where you can forget about things. You probably have something or someone or at some point have had this happen where a situation has taken up mental space in your brain. You are now a slave to that. Perfect example. Say you just got out of a relationship. You're thinking about her all the time. Can't stop thinking about her. Now you're emotional about it. So you're sad and you're crying and you're upset and you're having a bad time. You are a slave to the thought of another person. Think about that. That is not powerful. That's not free. That's not freedom. To be free is to say, okay, this happened, whatever, I move on with my life. I won't let this bog me down. I give you a personal story, and then I'm wrapping it up. When I was 20 years old, I went out one night, went drinking with my friends, and I blacked out. And I woke up a couple hours later in a hospital bed, and there was a nurse on top of me. They were wheeling me somewhere. There was a nurse like wheeling me, and she was looking down at me. And I said, "What happened?" And she said, "You ran your car into a tree and broke your hip." I fell back asleep. Couldn't even believe it. I woke up that day, the next day, actually, after 16 hours of surgery. I woke up the next day and was very, very upset, as you can imagine. My whole life is ruined right in front of me. I could have been a slave to that situation for the rest of my life and allowed myself to stay at the same level, if not lower, and been woe is me, victim mindset. My life is ruined. But instead, I took that as energy and used it to build myself into the person I am today. To where now it's not even something that I like talk about at all. You know, it's not even my thing. Like, that's not me. It's not me anymore. My identity is officially changed now. I'm no longer the guy who hurt himself in a car and he's now trying to do something with his life and prove to other people. I'm not trying to prove shit to anybody. I don't care. I like my life. This video is fucking 30 minutes long. There's a good chance. There's not a lot of people watching this. I don't care. I'm freedom to other people. Have freedom to other people's opinion. I don't care about other people's opinions. What? Someone's gonna talk shit to me online? Say that I'm crazy? I don't care. I have my own life to live. I don't need other people's opinion. And that doesn't make, I mean, you can call it arrogant, you can call it egotistical, you can call it narcissist, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. And that doesn't make a difference. So what? Really, so what? And I'll be honest with you, you do have to have a bit of arrogance. You have to be able to sit there and say, I'm the fucking man. That's what this is all about. I mean, shit. Power, abundance, and freedom. Think about it. Like, when you're in a situation where you need to be powerful, abundant, and free, which is always, you just say, I'm the fucking man. The man doesn't succumb to sin. The man doesn't succumb to decisions and circumstances and other people. Man does what he wants to do, unapologetically. That's how you win. That's what it's all about. Freedom, abundance, and power. That's all it is. You have to believe in yourself because nobody else will. So that's my story. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, subscribe, comment. I'm making the abundance part. I'll drop it tomorrow. I'm going to make it right now after this video. Have a good day.